Hello and welcome to the Discover History YouTube channel, and tonight I want to talk about our coat of arms. Now, for some of you who don't know where we're based in the city of Worcester, as I often have to tell people, home of the sauce or home of the bone china or even home of Sir Edward Elgar, or I could say we're south of Birmingham and north of Gloucester, not too far from Herefordshire and the border into Wales, if you want to be geographical. But that is the coat of arms of our great city, and we're very passionate about Worcester, mainly because both myself and Helen have family that goes back right back in history. For example, I have family in Worcester that's been in Worcester since the 1812, 1813. Helen's family have been in Worcestershire for just about the same time, if not longer. So we could probably say we are definitely locals to the city of Worcester. Worcester is linked to pretty much everything. If you think about some of the big events in British history, the Roman invasion, the English Civil Wars, for example, we are linked to it. And I often tell people you could say Worcester is linked to international history or world history as well, because if you take, for example, the commemorations this year for Mayflower sailing 400 years ago, you could say we're linked to world history and not just British history. Anyway, back to the topic. That's the coat of arms for our great city, and we are quite fortunate because it's a very ancient coat of arms. It goes back a long time in history, goes right back in the mists of time, and it's unusual because we actually have two coats of arms. If you look at most cities, you will usually find one or the other. There are a few cities with two coats of arms, and they're not two coats of arms that were given to us at exactly the same time. They're actually coat of arms, one older than the other. The oldest coat of arms we have is this shield here. Now, hopefully you can see it. These are laminated purely because we use these when we do our guided tours. And on an evening like it is at the moment, pouring down a rain, this allows us to talk to visitors on our tours without our pictures and maps getting too wet. So that is the oldest coat of arms that we have. Some people say that is our true medieval coat of arms, and that could actually go back as far back as our first charter for the city, which is 1189, which was granted to us by Richard the Lionheart. So it is described as a shield, quartered, and is red in black. Interesting fact, our mayor, the mayor of Worcester, like most mayors in fact, wears the livery colours red and black when they do ceremonial duties. So red and black. In the centre there is what is sometimes described as a turret with three towers, sometimes described as a gateway. All I can say is we have a castle in the middle. That's the best description to give personally. Now that tells us that Worcester was once a walled city, especially in the Middle Ages. Just a bit of a recap for you. We did a video some time ago on medieval Worcester. So that is what Worcester looked like in the 13th century. So this is the height of the medieval period. It's not the early years, for example 1066. It's not the latter part, the 15th century. This is slap bang in the middle, and Worcester was making a huge amount of money at that time. And as you can see, going all the way around it, yes, we've got suburbs, but going all the way around it is a huge sandstone wall. That wall, we definitely know, was completed around about 1250. And if you ever get a chance to go into the commandery, if they've still got it on display, they do have a model of Worcester at that time period. And it's said that they chose 1250 purely because that's the date that we know the city was completely surrounded in a stone wall. Prior to that, we had a wooden wall as well, but the stone wall went all the way around, and it came. The stone came locally. It actually came from Holt in Ombersley, came along the river, and then was used in the building. But it's also interesting to note that at the south side of the city, even south of the cathedral, stood the city castle, the Mott and Bailey Castle, put in at the time of the conquest of Britain by the Normans. And it was a very strategic point because it commanded the bend in the River Severn. So could the coat of arms display the walls around the city, or could the coat of arms of Worcester just be highlighting the fact that we've got a castle in it? But like I said, the coat of arms is red and black with a castle in it. Or is it, like I said, part of the city wall that's shown? It's basically a symbol saying Worcester is a walled city. Sadly, the walls came tumbling down, shall we say, after the Battle of Worcester. We don't know how much damage was done to those city walls in the fighting, but we do know after the battle, Cromwell ordered the city to slight its defences to a height it could no longer defend. In other words, to pull the walls down, fill up the ditch that went all the way around. We were, after all, the troublers of the kingdom. So that's the ancient coat of arms for Worcester, really. But then we do have this one displaying 3 pairs, and that's quite an interesting one. We don't fully, and I'm going to tell you this now, we don't fully know where that comes from, because interesting fact, Worcestershire is always known as the fruity county. For example, Kent is known as the garden of England, for example. Worcestershire has always been known for its fruit. You've only got to travel through Worcestershire in the spring and you will find blossom everywhere. Plums, apples, pears, you name it, we've got it. We are the fruity as well as being the saucy county. So could it be saying that we're the county town of the fruitful county of Worcestershire? But saying that, at the Battle of Agincourt in 1415, it was said in the Ballad of Agincourt that Worcestershire archers fought under a banner of a pear tree. And that's 1415. However, legend, more legend than fact probably, is most people say that comes from one incident, and that took place on the 13th of August 1575. If you go back through the videos, I'm pretty sure I have mentioned this before. It was the date when Queen Elizabeth I came to Worcester. Why Worcester? Well, actually, we were the centre of the cloth trade, or one of them. We were producing fine cloth, and the Queen Elizabeth I, visited our city. Now, this is where we're not sure. It was said when she came to Worcester, she travelled along the main street, High Street, and she saw pear trees growing all the way down there, Worcester black pears, in fact. And it was at that point when she stopped, famously, it was said, in Queen Elizabeth's house. However, there is no evidence for this whatsoever. A lovely story, but sadly not backed up with sources. It was said that she then addressed the citizens of Worcester and said how nice it was to see pear trees growing within a medieval walled city. She also said because we were not stealing the fruit off the tree, we were leaving them to ripen, we deserve a coat of arms with the 3 black pears on. So we get this. We know it appears around about the 16th century, but did it come from the visit of Elizabeth I? It's a lovely story and everyone will pretty much tell you it did. Sadly, there's no evidence for it. So all I can say is it's a good story, and when we do our guided tours, we tell people this story, but sadly, no fact in it. The funny thing is, archers at Agincourt in 1415 used the symbol of pears. That symbol represents the fruits of the county. It's been around for a long time. But if you want to, Elizabeth I gave us that 3 black paired shield, if you want to stick that lovely legendary story there. And then we've obviously got the laurels going around. So Worcester has 2 coats of arms, not given to us at the same time, but given to us at individual dates, but we like to use them together. Now, they have fiddled with these shields over the years. For example, you do see now the red and black quartered shield with the castle or medieval gateway in it, and you do then sometimes see the 3 pairs stuck in the corner as well. So we've fiddled around with the coat of arms as well. The city's motto down here, if you can see it, I don't know if you can see it in there, is Civitas in bello et paca fidelis, which basically means, and I'm going to say it literally, city in war and peace, faithful. But most people say Worcester's motto is city faithful in war and peace, which sounds a little bit better. Latin has a habit of moving things round, interestingly. Now, we have made great use of our coat of arms over the years, be it the 3 pairs, be it the red and black with the castle badge in the middle, or be it the 2 together, or the mixture of the 2 together. We've made great use of it, to the fact, or to the point, that a few years ago, Worcester actually won from the Heraldic Society an award, and that award was down to the fact that we make use of our coat of arms more than most cities in Britain, not just in the Midlands, in Britain. And I think that's a fantastic fact. And you've only got to walk around Worcester, keeping social distancing obviously, but you've only got to walk around Worcester and look, and you will see the coat of arms for the city of Worcester absolutely everywhere. You name it, you will see it there. Now I've told you this, go out and have a look. It's also printed on lots of things. For example, we've got here a Worcester Cooperative Society Jubilee mug, 1881 to 1931. So this came out in 1931, and what's in the centre of that cooperative mug? Yes, it's the city coat of arms, but weirdly it's the mixed up one. In other words, they've thrown the 3 pairs in the corner of the red and black quartered shield with the castle in the middle. You will also notice, much clearer in this one, on the Mayor's Banquet menu back in 1879, you can see it there in full colour. Now you're probably thinking, we've got some random stuff. Discover History has some very random stuff. Banquet menus, mugs with the city coat of arms on. We've got a lot of things with Worcester on. We actually collect, as a hobby, myself and Helen, we collect Worcester memorabilia, or even expanding it to Worcestershire memorabilia. For example, here we have the programme for the Worcester Charter Festival in August 1971. Now this is important, by the way, because next year it's 2021, and in 1971 Worcester had a huge charter festival on Pitchcroft Racecourse, celebrating everything about Worcester, because in 1621 we get a new charter, and that charter allowed us to have the right worshipful mayor of the city of Worcester. So that's quite important. So next year, hopefully, Worcester will have a similar festival. Fingers crossed. Let's celebrate coming out of COVID-19, fingers crossed. And next year, because of all the events cancelled this year, let's have a Worcester Charter Festival like we did in 1971. In here you will find the Worcester coat of arms quite a few times, even in a cartoony picture on the front there. We've also got, bringing it up to date, the torch relay when it came to Worcester, and I'm sure you were there, we were there in 2012. It's got the city coat of arms all the way through it, and we've even got the Queen's Jubilee. And remember, the Queen came to Worcester in 2012, and in here is the coat of arms. Also, we collect absolutely anything to do with the city of Worcester. Saying that, if anyone's got anything out there that you want to donate to Discover History for the purposes of talks and for the purpose of reminiscence sessions in care homes and schools and things like that, you can get in touch with us. Email us, discoverhistory@aol.com. You can give us a ring, or make a comment on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or on here on YouTube, and let us know what you've got. And if you want to get rid of it, let us know. We do collect Worcester things. Anyway, on that note, stay safe, have a fantastic weekend, and if you are going out, look for the city coat of arms. On that note, we will see you soon. Bye bye.